MD Prepper here, giving you a tabletop review of the Smith & Wesson SW40VE, which is obviously a semi-automatic 40 caliber pistol in the Sigma line. So this is their low-cost lineup. Comes in about $300 retail. In the essence of full disclosure, this is not my pistol. This is a friend of mine's that he wanted me to review. He bought this used for a reasonable price. He had about 200 rounds through it before I tried it out. Don't know how many rounds were through it beforehand, but I've got about 250 rounds through it myself. Let me go ahead and first off say that I have never been a fan of Smith & Wesson semi-autos, so I'm a bit biased, but I'm going to try to do this as objectively as I can. Low-cost pistol, very inexpensive, about $300 with a single magazine, brand new. It's okay. It's not my favorite pistol in the world. It's got some benefits, it's got some negatives. Let me go ahead and show you this thing. Safety checked for all you silly safety sallies out there. Obviously stainless steel with polymer frame there. Runs about $300 brand new from your big box stores, Academy and other things like that. Has a 4-inch barrel. Comes in about 23.8 ounces unloaded. Magazines are 14 rounds, which is a heck of a good capacity for such a low cost firearm. That's one of its pluses. 14 plus 1, that's a lot of firepower plus extra magazines. Now, one of the negatives this thing has is the cost of magazines. For such a low cost firearm, replacement magazines and extra magazines are ridiculously expensive. They run anywhere between $30 and $40 online if you can find them. That's a lot for a low cost firearm, I think. My buddy here bought 3 extra magazines, so that's what he wanted, whatever. A lot of firepower, but kind of cuts into the low cost of the firearm, in my opinion. Overall, this gun is currently built very much like a Glock. Glock sued them based on some of the designs, saying they were a copyright infringement and won. So a lot of these guns are giving money back to Glock. Overall, stainless steel slide, double action only trigger, not like a Glock. We'll talk about that here in a minute. 3-dot sights, if you can see those. Actually, excellent sights, I'd say, for a $300 firearm. Fits very well in the hand. This thing feels great when you pick it up, when you just hold it. Not firing it, but when you hold it. Feels very good. Breaks down similar to a Glock. It'll take down there. You have to pull the trigger, which I don't like, and take it down like a standard Glock. No problems there. Standard magazine release on this side is not ambidextrous. Bit of a hit against it. Checkering on the grip here on the sides is very much like your checkered 1911 style grips, etc. See that right there. And then you get your Glock style on the front and the back. Feels great. It really does. Feels very good in the hand. Very reasonably sized and placed. You've got a little checkering up here in front of the guard. Trigger guard, if you can see that. Not bad. Feels good in the hand. Let me talk about my complaints about this gun. Right up here. There's no slide rail attachment. There's nothing to attach to this thing that does not come with a proprietary attachment. Why in the heck would you do that for a low-cost firearm? You're just trying to cheat people out of money, okay? Some guys other than Smith & Wesson do make some aftermarket, so attach to this so you can attach lights and lasers. I just think that's a little cheap there. Why waste the time and the money? A little bit greedy there, in my opinion. The machining on this is quite nice on the slide, especially for the price for a $300 gun. No problems at all. Looks like a nice gun. The slide stop here is very, very thin and low profile, which is nice if you're going to do in the waistband or concealed carry, something like that. You're not going to hit this thing accidentally, but it's not that useful. But for a semi-auto pistol, I'm a firm believer in racking the slide, not hitting the slide release chamber around. So I can't complain there. That's okay in my book. Overall, the negative points of this pistol, the biggest problem is the trigger pull. The trigger pull is awful. It's double action only. I have to say, other than my little Polish, was it P63 or P64, has the worst double action trigger pull of any firearm I've probably ever fired. Looking online, some people say it's 12 pounds, some people say it's 10. Either way, it's long, it's spongy, it's awful. I hate, hate, hate the trigger on this. See if I can show this right now. See that right there? It is long. It hurts. You're going to hurt your hand after pulling that for any length of time at the range. This is not a comfortable gun to shoot. Now, there is a trigger job online on YouTube they've shown that requires no destruction of parts or clipping of springs or anything like that, that takes this thing down to somewhere between 5.5 to 6 pounds. I'm going to ask my buddy if he's okay with me doing that or doing it himself. I will try to do a re-review if he's okay with that. If he's not, well, that's the end of this one. I do not have a target to show you because it was embarrassing. I feel bad showing it to you. Drew this from a kind of generic holster that I had to fit this. My buddy did not leave his holster. But first round, always missed. It missed a man-sized target every single time from 10 yards. I just could not get comfortable with that. First trigger was awful. And it's the same in all the rest of the trigger pulls, but after that long trigger pull, I just kind of compensated somehow. Did not like that at all. Is it a good defensive pistol? Well, it's reliable. I had absolutely no problems with feeding or ejection despite all the rounds I tried to fire in this. This fires well. It handles well. It holds well. The trigger pull kills this gun. Makes it a negative in my mindset. For $300, I'd rather have a Taurus or anything else used for the price. It's just awful. Now, I know police back in the day wanted that for safety so it's not going to fire accidentally. You're right. It's not going to fire accidentally. There's no safety on the gun and needs a long trigger pull to technically be safe. Good Lord. This thing is abominable. You're not going to fire it accidentally, but you're probably not going to hit anything you're shooting at. 14 rounds, you're going to need them. I want to hit my target on the first round and every follow-up be not necessary, but a bonus, okay? I want to hit my target, knock them out, and be done if I'm in a firefight. I don't want something I have to worry about hitting my target every time I pull the trigger just because I can't hit the target. Very disheartening overall. Cannot say I hate this gun, but I don't love it either. So, there's my review. Not a terrible gun. It's reliable. It feels good in the hand. Functions well as far as the slide and the features on it. But darn it, trigger pull is unspeakably horrible. I will get back to you guys if my buddy lets me tinker with this thing a bit. If he wants to tinker with it himself, I will get back to you with that after he lets me play with it again. For $300, it's not a terrible gun, but it has some hits against it. Number one is obviously the trigger. Number two is the cost of extra magazines. For the price of this, honestly, I have to say I'd prefer a high point. That's my honest opinion. People may disagree, but you have to call it like I said. MD Prepper out.